That summer sun was relentless, painting the long, dusty road in shades of gold. For a little girl named Lily, whose tiny bicycle had given up with a sigh of metal, that road felt like an endless desert. Her scraped knee stung, and tears were just about to win the battle when a shadow fell over her. She looked up, and there he was, a man with kind eyes, his leather jacket worn and his motorcycle gleaming like a black stallion. He wasn't much older than a boy himself, perhaps just stepping into his 20s. He knelt, his smile gentle as he offered her a small, clean cloth for her knee. "A little bump in the road, huh?" he said, his voice warm and steady. He helped her with the broken chain on her bike, his hands surprisingly deft and patient. Lily, mesmerized, watched him work. To her he was a hero, a knight who had appeared out of nowhere. As he finished, he ruffled her hair. "There you go, good as new." She looked up at him, her eyes wide with admiration. "When I grow up," she declared with all the seriousness a 7-year-old could muster, "I'm going to find you, and I'll be by your side." He chuckled, a soft, amused sound. "It's a deal," he said, playing along. "I'll be right here." He mounted his bike, gave her one last wave, and rode off, disappearing into the shimmering heat. Lily never forgot his face, the kindness in his eyes, or the promise she had made. That moment became a secret treasure she kept locked in her heart. 15 years later, the world had spun and changed. Lily, now a confident young woman, returned to her sleepy hometown, a place she hadn't seen since her family moved away shortly after that memorable summer. She had come back to help her grandmother, but a part of her, a small, hopeful whisper, wondered if she might find a ghost from her past. The town was a living photograph of her memories, the old ice cream parlor, the creaky swings in the park, and the same dusty roads that stretched out like familiar arms, yet almost convinced herself that her childhood memory was just a fantasy. A story she had told herself so many times it felt real. One afternoon, while browsing a small cluttered bookstore tucked away on a side street, she heard a voice that made her heart skip a beat. It was deeper now, weathered by time, but it held the same gentle timbre she remembered. She turned, and there he was, Ethan. He was leaning against a bookshelf, recommending a novel to an elderly customer. His hair was a little shorter, and faint lines crinkled around his eyes when he smiled, but it was unmistakably him. The leather jacket was gone, replaced by a soft, worn-out sweater, but the kindness was still there, radiating from him like a quiet warmth. Her breath hitched. He was real. She watched him for a moment, a whirlwind of emotion swirling inside her. Should she say something? What could she possibly say? "Excuse me, you fixed my bike 15 years ago and I promised to stay by your side." It sounded absurd, even to her. He looked up and their eyes met. For a split second she saw a flicker of curiosity, but no recognition. He just gave her a polite, friendly smile, the kind you give a stranger. Disappointment, sharp and cold, pricked at her. Of course, he wouldn't remember. She was just a little girl with a scraped knee, one of countless moments in his life. She paid for her book and left a bell on the door chiming a lonely goodbye. But fate, it seems, has a stubborn way of writing its own stories. A few days later, Lily's car sputtered to a stop on a familiar stretch of road, the very same one from her memory. As if on cue, a motorcycle pulled up behind her. Her heart hammered against her ribs. It was him. Ethan swung off his bike, pulling off his helmet. "Having some trouble?" he asked, that same easy smile on his face. This time, Lily found her voice. "It seems to be my luck on this particular road," she said, a small, wry smile playing on her lips. He raised an eyebrow, intrigued. "Have we met before?" he asked, his gaze searching her face. "You look ... familiar." Lily's heart fluttered with a fragile hope. "I used to live here a long time ago," she said, deciding to let the universe do its work. He tinkered with her engine, and just like all those years ago, his hands were steady and capable. They talked as he worked, their conversation flowing as easily as a gentle stream. He told her how he'd given up his wandering ways and opened the bookstore, finding his home in the pages of stories. She told him about her life in the city, her job, and why she had come back. There was an unspoken connection between them, a sense of comfort and familiarity that defied logic. It felt less like meeting a stranger and more like reconnecting with an old friend whose name you could unquite remember. He got her car started, and as she prepared to leave, he hesitated. "I'm Ethan," he said. "Lily," she replied. "Lily, that's a beautiful name," he murmured, as if tasting the sound of it. "Would you ... maybe like to get some coffee sometime, to thank me for the rescue?" "Of course," she smiled, a genuine, radiant smile. "I'd love that." Their coffee date turned into a long walk, and that walk turned into dinner. They spent the next few weeks in a bubble of their own, exploring the town and, more importantly, each other. With every shared story, every laugh, every quiet moment, Lily fell for the man he had become, while the memory of the hero she had met as a child grew fonder. She saw the same soul, the same kindness that had captured her heart all those years ago. And she could see him falling for her too. The way he looked at her, the way he'd unconsciously reached for her hand, it was all there. But the secret of their first meeting remained a silent weight in her heart. She was afraid that revealing it might break the spell, that the reality could never live up to the magic of the memory. One evening they were sitting by the lake watching the sunset paint the water in hues of orange and pink. The air was still, filled with the scent of pine and the promise of a cool night. Ethan turned to her, his expression serious but tender. "Lily," he began, his voice soft, "I feel like I've known you my whole life. It's a strange feeling. Every time I'm with you, it's like coming home." Tears welled in Lily's eyes. This was the moment. She took a deep breath. "Ethan," she said, her voice trembling slightly. "We have met before, a long, long time ago, on a hot summer day, on that road just outside of town." She watched as confusion clouded his face. "I was a little girl with a scraped knee and a broken bicycle," she continued, her voice growing stronger. "You stopped. You were so kind. You fixed my bike chain and you didn't laugh when I told you ... She paused, her heart pounding. "When I told you that when I grew up I would come back and be by your side." Ethan stared at her, his eyes widening as the fog of time slowly lifted. He saw it then, the same wide, earnest eyes from all those years ago, now looking at him with a woman's love. A slow, wondrous smile spread across his face, reaching his eyes and making them shine. He remembered the little girl with the fierce, innocent declaration. He let out a soft, breathless laugh, a sound filled with disbelief and pure joy. "My God," he whispered, reaching out to cup her face in his hands, his thumbs gently wiping away the tears that had started to fall. "Lily, it was you." He pulled her into a hug, holding her tight as if he was afraid she might disappear. "You came back," he murmured into her hair. "You kept your promise." Lily closed her eyes, burying her face in his shoulder, feeling a profound sense of peace settle over her. Everything had come full circle. It wasn't just a silly childhood promise. It was destiny, patiently waiting for the right moment to reveal itself. In that embrace, under the twilight sky, two souls who had briefly crossed paths years ago found their way back to each other, not by chance, but by a promise whispered on a dusty summer road. Their story wasn't just about a second chance. It was about a love that had been waiting for them all along. If this story of destiny and promises touched your heart, please let us know by giving it a like and sharing your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories that make you believe in a little bit of magic. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.